Rhea Ripley has added even more layers to Liv Morgan and Dominik's current situation. So we'll see what's new there, and see how this story could be taking some darker routes than everyone originally expected. Starting things off with the love triangle story between Rhea Ripley, Dominik Mysterio, and Liv Morgan. Rhea Ripley opened up this edition of Raw and went into detail about how Liv didn't take her out. What Liv did only made her more angry and hungry. Rhea talks about how Liv is walking around with that championship that she never lost, and how she plans on getting it back. She invited Liv to the ring, but she instead got Dominik Mysterio. Dominik came out with a rose and tried talking to Rhea, but she turned around and refused to look at him. Liv Morgan jumps on the screen to exchange some words with Rhea. Liv claimed that when this all started, she didn't see what Rhea saw in Dominik and wasn't actually interested in him. It was all just to make Rhea Ripley angry. But Liv is now claiming that after spending so much extended time with Dominik Mysterio, she's genuinely in love with him. Liv even went as far to say that what Dominik and herself have is more real and stronger than what Rhea and Dominik ever had together. And Liv backs up her claim pretty strongly by mentioning how Rhea and Dominik never had a kiss on WWE television, how Rhea never helped Dominik defeat Rey, and all these other little things that only Liv and Dominik have done together. And that's Liv's case for claiming that her relationship with Dominik is so much deeper and has more impactful moments. There's even a big difference between how Rhea and Liv handled Dominik's losses. When Dominik loses big matches, Rhea often responded with anger and basically near threats. But when Dominik lost big matches with Liv Morgan, she responded by promising Dominik that she'll make it up to him, and she kept her promise. So there's just so many things to compare there between how both of them treat Dominik. Rhea Ripley challenged Liv Morgan to a title match at Summerslam, which Liv accepted because she knew everything she's done over the last few months would lead to this, so she's not running away. Dominik was then seen following Rhea Ripley backstage, and she didn't appear to want anything to do with him. Rhea opened the locker room door to find flowers and slammed the door in Dominik's face. Rhea would open up the door again only to throw the flowers at Dominik. Rhea and Damian can then be seen talking in the locker room, catching up with each other. But another interesting background detail to pay some attention to is what's happening with the rest of the Judgment Day members. Rhea Ripley is back for the first time in several months, and it appears that Damian Priest is the only member that actually cares about having her back. Instead of greeting Rhea together as a group and showing their love and appreciation for her, the rest of the Judgment Day members can be seen with their backs towards Rhea Ripley, just playing WWE 2K24 on the PlayStation, which again are all gifts that Liv Morgan got to Judgment Day. So that shot right there is very telling, because the group is fully ignoring Rhea's return in favor of showing attention to things that Liv got them. It's almost like foreshadowing to show where their loyalty may stand over the next few weeks, and that's with Liv Morgan. So that itself is very telling. The group just has their backs towards Rhea playing their video games, and it just feels disrespectful to Rhea. Rhea didn't call them out for that action with that moment, but watch it back and you can see how wrong it feels for them to basically act as if she's not even in the room. Just very strange. Dominik enters and asks Rhea to hear him out. He says he's been trying to reach out to Rhea all week long. Rhea gets upset again with Dominik because she claims that he didn't bother to reach out to her for the last 3 months, so why reach out now? We then see a backstage conversation between Damian and Dominik that explains why Damian didn't give Dominik the heads up about Rhea's return. Damian was upset that Dominik lied about communicating with Rhea and lied about ending things with Liv Morgan. So that's how Damian got Dominik back for that. Jay Uso jumps into the scene and talks about how he wants to get Rhea's number now that she's single. Damian instigates the situation and tells Dominik to face Jay Uso in a match to show him who Rhea belongs to. We then see Finn and JD McDonough finally turn to face Rhea Ripley and address how Liv helped him win the tag team titles. Rhea didn't appear to have any issues with that and claims that the joke is on Liv Morgan, since the tag team titles are back with the Judgment Day. So that squashed any would-be tension there between Finn, JD, and Rhea. However, that doesn't mean things will stay peaceful there. Liv did help them win those titles, after all, not Rhea. So, if things come down to picking between Rhea and Liv, Finn and JD's vote and loyalty must just lean in Liv's direction. So that's something that could come up again in the future, so don't forget about that. Dominik comes in to tell Rhea Ripley about this plan to prove to Jay Uso that she belongs to him. But the choice of words were wrong, and Rhea said that she didn't belong to anyone, and stormed out again. We then get to Dominik versus Jay, and that got messy pretty quickly. Liv Morgan comes out to ringside, but as Dominik is trying to reason with her, Jay kicks Dominik, and he lands on the top of Liv again. Liv turns things around to get on top of Dominik and pin him down, but Rhea quickly comes out to chase her away through the crowd again. All of this chaos outside the ring eventually leads to Dominik getting distracted and allowing Jay to pick up the easy win. Jay Uso even had a post-match moment there, gesturing to Rhea Ripley for her to call him. We then got to the final and most interesting segment of the night for this story. Damian Priest was with Dominik, but he quickly steps aside to let Rhea Ripley talk to Dominik. Rhea tells him that they're gonna get something straight. She doesn't belong to anybody. She's not his. But she pulls out a rose and tells Dominik, "You're mine." And this moment once again shakes up the whole story, because everyone is thinking the same thing. Is Rhea Ripley now the one that's lying and manipulating Dominik? Manipulative tactics is how Rhea won Dominik over in the first place, so it wouldn't be the first time. Fans really think that Rhea is now lying to Dominik because that was such a drastic change in her mood when compared to the rest of the night. All night long, she was pushing Dominik away, slamming doors in his face, walking away from him, and then she suddenly gives him a smile, a rose, and says he belongs to her. Fans just aren't buying it, and they feel like this is the start of a manipulative plan from Rhea towards Dominik. It's also interesting to note that Damian Priest was right there towards the beginning of the segment. Is that a sign that this was a plan that Damian and Rhea cooked up together to mess with Dominik? It does make sense for Rhea to be nice towards Dominik because if she continues to be mean towards him, it's only going to make the decision to fully join Liv Morgan even easier for him. But if Rhea's forgiving and showing him affection as well, now Dominik is getting pulled in both directions, and it's going to drive him crazy. It's also pretty hilarious how the babyface in all of this should actually be Dominik Mysterio. He's the one that's getting manipulated and played with by both women to be their pawn in their evil revenge plans towards each other. So as crazy as it sounds, Dominik may be the only character here that's worth some empathy. He's really being played with and put through, and there's just so many end games for this story to go in now. Maybe Rhea uses and manipulates Dominik to help her get the title back, and once that happens, she has him ruin his relationship with Liv Morgan. Then maybe Rhea will dump Dominik right on the spot. It's evil, it's cruel, but considering how much the fans hate Dominik, seeing something like that may just make them go crazy cheering for Rhea even more. Or on the flip side, maybe Dominik eventually catches on Rhea's new plan, and he decides to strike first and legitimately help Liv Morgan retain the title at SummerSlam against Rhea, officially making his decision of who he wants to be with. Dominik had accidentally helped Liv Morgan retain the title on several occasions, but SummerSlam could turn out to be the first time that he willingly helps Liv Morgan. Just so many layers to this story, and it's so deep and rich in quality, especially given all the time it's gotten on this week's edition of Raw. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.